Hear ye, hear ye. We now open the second 100 years of the Cleveland Municipal Court.
I guess my conversation with the judge from 1912 was, thank you so much for giving us a good start. We were one of the first municipal courts anywhere in the United States. I think we were maybe the second. The first Cleveland Municipal Court had 6 members. And back in those days, as you might imagine, all of those members were male. This judge lost one arm in a railroad accident. Some years later, he lost the other arm in a separate railroad accident. He made all of the entries by putting a pen in his mouth and wrote out what he needed to write out in that way. Mary Grossman stayed on the bench for 36 years, an outstanding jurist and outstanding lawyer. She formed the quote-unquote morals court, which was a docket that was heard in the Cleveland Municipal Court and dealt with things like gambling and prostitution and other types of vice. She was the one who came up with the idea and presided over that docket for many years.
In 1942, Perry B. Jackson became the first black judge in Ohio when he was appointed to the court where he served for 27 years. Then, in 1969, Lillian W. Burke became the first black female judge in the state of Ohio.
It was very significant in many ways. She was a very, very astute politician and campaigner.
She had plenty of energy, but she was very calming effect on the court. Her leadership abilities stood out, and it really made me want to do well as a judge. So she's one of the trailblazers.
We were all aware of her legacy. We all went to her house. She was just so proud, and she cried, and a lot of the younger judges didn't know her, so they got to have pictures with her, and it was really wonderful.
I've had the privilege of knowing Judge Calandra from the time I was born. He taught me about being fair, being efficient, and being good-hearted. There was a man that cared about his community more than anyone I've ever known. People knew Judge Calandra not with a robe on, but with an apron on. He was always cooking at the spaghetti dinners and the pancake breakfasts. He loved this court. When I got to the bench, he said, treat the people that work there well, because they are true public servants that are there because they want to be there and they care about this court. Judge Calandra would be, his chest would be out, and he'd be very proud this evening.
John O'Toole was the court administrator for many, many years, and we all just loved Mr. O'Toole. He was just the greatest guy. He was just very diplomatic. He was able to go between the different factions and get them straightened out.
My reference was the Bible first, treating others as you want to be treated, and the Constitution of the United States of America secondly. The only way that you can connect with people is to work with people. I mean, really connect with them in order to get their vote. I'm not a politician. I'm a student of government. Don't give me anything, that's secondhand. Just give me an equal chance, and I'll match or beat you at anything that you try to do where it takes intelligence.
Stephanie was a force of nature, unlike virtually any other person that you were ever going to meet, just in her sheer personality, her determination to succeed, the acuity of her mental process, her ability to break things down to a level that even the most complex of issues could be made understandable, and her unbounded optimism.
Stokes was really interesting. He came in, he kind of wooed us all and talked us into voting for him to be administrative judge.
The best thing that I ever got by way of advice I got from him. He was famous for smoking these large stogie cigars. And he had one in his mouth and he took it out and he looked out the window. And after he looked out the window for a minute, he turned back to me and he says, you know, Adrian, performance is the best politics. I've always remembered that.
Larry Jones was the most wonderful, thoughtful. He was a genius simply because he knew how to get along with people. Every year they would elect him as AJPJ because he had done an excellent job.
I'm very proud of the fact that I've served 14 years as the presiding administrative judge, which indicated to me that my colleagues had some maybe support and good feelings about what we did at the court. We was very proactive at court, as you know, because you help us along the way, but you know, drug court, domestic violence docket, mental health docket, and we was kind of a leader of all these different dockets. Now they're pretty much coming throughout the state of Ohio, but I'm very proud of the fact that we was at the forefront of Cleveland Municipal Court to bring many of these programs into existence.
It is a specialized court, formed in 1980. It was a difficult birth with state legislation. There's some people that were opposed to it, but it came into being through the efforts and leadership of a number of community activists. The cases involved code compliance, hanging gutter, trim needing paint, high grass and weeds. Our overriding goal is to solve the problem in Cleveland's neighborhoods. Because the defendants we see, it's not only for their property, but their property, their neighbors' values, and even quality of life hinges on their neighbor's property.
And a lot of times the people that appear in Muni Court are not really hardcore criminals. It's poverty, it's ignorance, and it's irresponsibility.
We're dealing with people that have had their homes condemned. They have filed bankruptcy. They have a mortgage, but the financial institution has walked on the mortgage but kept the lien on the property. And so it's become more difficult and more complex.
It's some hard problems because you try to fashion a legal remedy for social ills, social problems, and that's what you run into in Muni Court. Municipal court judges have to be of a top legal, social, mental level.
We needed the technology so that we could be the people's court that we always talked about. We took this court to the people and we allowed the community to ask us questions. And that was very unique. And it's still very unique in this country that judges and the clerk of courts will go out to the community, have a town hall meeting, and talk about the court. And now we have what is called In the Neighborhood. And we've probably seen over 6,000 people. We really talk to them in a firm way, but a very kind way, to let them know that we're there for them to help them. But we also let them know that if you don't come to resolve your problem, I can't guarantee what happens the next time.
In 1998, I had a chance to become the drug court. At that point, we called it the Greater Cleveland Drug Court. And really, that kind of rejuvenated my life as a judge because it gave me a chance to really learn about the disease of addiction, about the human spirit, and it made me a better person. And I think as a result of that, I was able to help some people turn their lives around.
They always thank me. They always thank me. It was 10 o'clock at night. It was snowing and oh, it was a terrible night. He said, wait a minute, aren't you Judge Jasper? He said, come on, baby, I'll push your car home because you really helped me a lot.
One of the things that we can do in this court is really touch people and make an impact upon their lives.
We had a harmony in this court that you wouldn't believe. I mean, we were very cohesive and helpful to each other.
I was kind of like the little girl of the court. They didn't have a lot of training like they do they now. So I think I learned a lot more from bailiffs than, you know, what judges did. I would talk to Judge Gaines a lot, and I remember my dad saying, you listen to Clarence Gaines, he's been down there a long time, and Judge Gaines and Calandra are really good friends. I think about my life now and the friends I have, and just about all of them go back to Cleveland Municipal Court. There was some connection. I met them at the court, I met them through the court, or they worked here. We had birthday parties for people. People had babies. We had baby showers for them. It was very, very much a family.
I just think the Cleveland Municipal Court is a great court. It has great judges on it now who are well qualified from great schools.
Well, Muni Court is very, very special. It's the court of the people.
I was even more impressed for the great opportunity to be part of history, to start a path that others can follow and have dreams that can become reality.
I think it's the greatest court in the world, and I enjoyed it so very, very much.
The people who first took this bench would be amazed at the differences that had transpired in that 100-year period of time. There was a great sense of humbleness to be the person that dropped that gavel 100 years after the start of this experiment.
When I was growing up, and as a lawyer, a man's word was his bond. In fact, that made a man. If he kept his word, a handshake, and that was it. We have to get back to, as far as those in government, tell the truth.
I would say to my successors that I hope that you keep your eye on the prize, and that prize is justice. They may not be happy with the outcome. It may not have gone in their favor, but I want them to feel that they received procedural fairness, that they were able to obtain while they were here a fair hearing, a courteous hearing, a knowledgeable hearing from the judicial officers that were charged with the responsibility of parsing the difference between them and the people that opposed them. And if they can do that, if at the end of the day, they can say that the people who appeared in front of them said it was hard, but it was fair, then from my perspective, they will have done the job the way it's designed to be done.